Yo, yo, what's up? It's Tim, and welcome back to the Mentor Archives. I'm here with Sonny, the one and only Sonny, the author of the book Tyrants and Tellers. You are the creator of your blog, Strength by Sonny, and you are future author of the book Instagods. Mm-hmm. And you got a lot of shit coming up, man. I had to sit down and talk to you. You're riding through New York, and I was like, this is going to be an amazing person to talk to for the Mentor Archives because you're someone who I've learned from for like the past 2 fucking years, reading your shit, kind of following what you've been about, and I've definitely learned a lot about my own personal growth. Thanks for being here, man.
Awesome.
Welcome.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, thanks for inviting me on. Always a pleasure to catch up with you.
What are you up to in New York?
Couple things, I'm originally from New York and grew up on Long Island, so, visiting family also this weekend, running live programs over the weekend. Just pretty much, staying busy as always.
Sick.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So, a lot of the guys who are watching the Fuckboy Frame, a lot of the guys who have gotten this course come from the pickup community. Yeah. And I know that that's how we got connected as well, because I know that actually we're probably very similar in this way. We both started in pickup, and I'm still very much in pickup, but you've kind of taken a turn where you're no longer enthralled by the community and the mainstream community guys. You're kind of like, you have a different perspective seeing things, and I've taken a similar path. Before we get into that, how did you get into this? What started you on this journey of game? Where were you before, and what got you here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of different than a lot of other guys because I didn't necessarily have come from like an introvert background or shy or, didn't have success with chicks. I was always one of the more popular kids. I was a multi-sport athlete growing up. Had a lot of guidance from, these good masculine role models, father, uncle, friends, fathers. So that helped me out a lot. It served me well throughout, middle school, high school, college. And it's just one of those things, just stumbling on this side of the internet, I've always been fascinated by human psychology, and just seeing that there's like a whole side of the web dedicated to getting chicks. It's something that fascinated me, and it's something that even if you're having success, it's something that no matter how much success you might be having, you're always fascinated by other people that are supposedly experts on this and talking about this. So that's how I kind of got into it. And it's just something. Eventually started my own blog in 2014, Strength by Sonny, and I have some unique insights on that stuff, and guys kind of just gravitated towards it, and
that's fucking awesome. I guess this is a great starting point. So one of the things that really got me looking at your stuff was your lay reports from back in the day. Yeah. Now I know that they were on all the forums, the mainstream forums and stuff. I wasn't on those forums back in the day, but I know my mentor was, and he showed me a lot of that stuff. Yeah. And reading those reports from you in Vegas with your fucking wings going out was fucking crazy. Yeah. So this guy right now looks super chilled out and just like, I'm just chilling. This guy's a fucking slayer with women. So, talk to me about Vegas. You have killed it in Vegas with women. So give us some insight into that shit.
Vegas. And for those of you guys that want to do Vegas, there's really 2 ways to do Vegas if you decide to move there. You move there when you're older and more established and you already have a family and you don't go anywhere near the Strip, or you go there when you're young and you do it for 6 months, a year, maybe 2 years, and then you get out and don't look back. Like, that's really how you have to do it, because I know so many people that, they got there when they're like 24, 25, around the time when I did, and they never got out of that phase, and now it's 15, 20 years later, and they're still in the same spot. But Vegas, I like Vegas because it really is. It's a 24-hour city, fast-paced, a lot of action. As far as a game is concerned, you can game it very in your face. So, if you have certain attributes, such as your looks or your physical build, be audacious about that. You can show that off and just use it to absolutely just slay chicks.
Well, how did you do it? Talk to me about it. How did you do that shit, man?
I shouldn't say just Vegas. It's pretty much like that anyway. A lot of chicks, they like the way that I look. They like my build. Yeah. They like the way that I'm built. And, Vegas, it's just magnified that much more in Vegas because, chicks, they go there. Well, they go there for a lot of reasons. But, you know, there is definitely a subset of chicks that go there specifically to get laid, and you can game more aggressively there, in my opinion. You know, you can move faster through the dynamic of opening, screening for logistics, screening for DTF. You can do all that shit wrapped into one, and you can do that very fast. There's a lot more targets, so to say. And it's pretty much just screening for chicks. Like, hey, what's your deal? Single? What's up? You know, I think you're hot. You know, love to take you out of here if you want. You do that with enough chicks, you're gonna find one that's gonna bite. And then of course you have the subset of chicks that open you too. Yeah. And then the pool parties. You know, I'm big into fitness. That was always my bread and butter in
and I was telling
Vegas.
you, I haven't been to a fucking pool party yet. Like, I've been doing game for fucking 5 years. I've been to a pool party before that, but I haven't actually been to a pool party since.
I love the pool parties. People ask, you know, what's the best game plan for getting laid at pool parties? You know, take your shirt off and walk around if you're jacked.
Yeah. And I wanna actually call kind of attention to that, because so one of the reasons why I had you on this is, and I think you would probably agree that a lot of the articles you write are super controversial. Like, some people just can't fucking handle them. Some people are like, this is inappropriate, like trigger warning type articles. And
there's even things I've written in the past. It's like, wow.
I mean, right? And so if you guys, I suggest you go and check out his blog, Strength by Sonny. It's a lot of interesting shit there, right? And one of the things, though, that I think why I wanted to do this interview, and something that I see, even though physically, of course, we look different. I'm this small guy, you're the jacked guy. I think that something we do see eye to eye on is the fact of attraction over game. And when I say attraction over game, what I tell all my students, and I want your perspective on this, I tell them all that before you come on my program and want me to teach you how to have the right techniques and follow the process and do all this stuff, the first thing you must understand is how to present yourself as attractively as possible, both in looks and just in the way you convey yourself.
Like these programs come. There's a couple guys that admitted that I'm overweight. Okay, here's my diet plan. You need to get on this.
And for me, it's fashion. So if a guy, like, for example, like if I have some guy that like looks like a super like nerdy kid, which that's fine in itself, you could probably get a great job. But women are not. That's not going to cut it all the time. I will go with him to do a fashion shopping trip, get a fucking haircut, and do things like that.
You have
so
to do that.
so what I'm curious about with you is, let's say a guy, and I ask this to all my fucking mentors. I ask all of them this. A guy who's coming into the community, a guy who's coming in and is like, yo, I want to meet women. I've slept with 2 girls. One of them was my girlfriend, and the other one was a random frat hookup, and she didn't even remember my name the next day, right? That guy, what is the balance between going out and approaching girls and banging your head against the wall, and I'm sure you've had students that have been like that, versus let me get training with Sonny, or let me get fashion consulting from Tim, or let me go to the gym, whatever it is. What's the balance?
I think the big thing guys need to realize, and this is something that the overall community at large, ever since the beginning, one of the things that guys kind of got suckered into believing is that there's this mythical, unquantifiable thing called game that is the great equalizer, and it can overcome everything. Like that comes first and foremost. You know, you don't have to worry about, maximizing your looks. You don't have to worry about maximizing your fashion. You know, you see those early pictures of those guys. Clearly they're not thinking about fashion. They're just thinking like it's 100% game. But it's not. Guys need to realize, like, as far as like looks, fashion, how you present yourself, it matters just as much to women as it does to men. You know, I think I said this in Facebook once before. That hot chick at the gym, you're not attracted to her because of looking at her and recognizing her game or confidence. It's not those things. It's her overall package. Maybe like she's wearing some hot shorts or something, or even just her overall sexual attractiveness. Guys need, men and women are the same in that regard. And women, they're more visual than men. Women by nature, they have to screen guys out. It's in their biology because they have to. It's embedded in their DNA to find the most suitable man, and a big part of that is looking at a guy his overall package. They're looking at you. What's this guy's deal? Chicks they're very good at screening guys in or out, far better than any man could ever be. Yeah. A chick could look at you or me or any guy and tell exactly, okay, is this guy winner? Is this guy lose? Like, does this guy have it? That's one of the things guys need to realize. They need to play. They need to embrace that. They need to play that game, and they need to. I say on my website, what are you as a man? What are you? You are a personal brand competing in the business of people. Women are a business. Yeah. It's even more so that now than ever, because social media, the online dating, it's definitely taken a lot of the romance out of it, a lot of the emotion out of it, at least in the initial stages. So guys need to embrace that. They need to look at themselves like a business and present themselves as that. Now, I'm not saying you need to look at me and, okay, I need to be a carbon copy of him, or guys should look at Tim and be a carbon copy of Tim. You need to work. You look at what you have and be the best version of you, and that doesn't go for just your physical branding. That goes for, and we'll get into this probably, your game as well. Guys, they're very desperate to just find someone and copy them, or find a bunch of people and try and copy different attributes from them, instead of just maybe taking a little bit here and there from them, but ultimately staying true to who they are.
Yeah. And also, I think that when you said be the best version of you, I think that's a term that's used very too loosely in the community. Yeah. And I know when you say that, you have a lot of gravity behind it, but I think that everyone in the community is like, we're in game to be the best version of ourselves, right? But here's the thing, man, and I don't know if you agree with this or not, but this is what I think. I think that game doesn't make you a better version of yourself. I don't think that doing game a lot makes you a better version, because I know guys who have been in game for 2 years, 3 years. Guys who I came up in the community with. And they're the same fucking guy that they were before when they started, with me. But they just are more confident. They have more confidence for sure. They can go up and do all these weird approach challenges and kind of throwing shade at the mainstream community, but take a picture with the bottle service people in Vegas. You know what I'm talking about? Things like that. And but they're more confident, right? And they go through this game journey.
Let me ask you, why are they more confident, and how do you know for sure they're more confident?
Well, the reason why I know they're more confident is because, and when I say more confident, I don't even mean in a good way, they see themselves better. When I say confident, I mean they can just do scary shit. They can just go going up and approaching a girl, taking their shirt off in public and doing approach anxiety challenges. They can do that stuff, right? Maybe I'm wrong. That's why
I would argue that's not, and that I forget who said this, but that's not really done so much out of confidence. That's done out of fear and anxiety, because that is a powerful motivator. When you have genuine fear or anxiety deep down, you'll do shit. You'll do shit just because you're scared. Just fuck it, you'll just do it. Real confidence, and I think no one's really taking the time to really talk about this. Real confidence. How do you become more confident? You become more confident when you get tangible results, tangible results that you can see. So real confidence. The easiest way. Both men and women, what's the number one way they become more confident? They look better. Okay. How does a woman become more confident? Well, she loses weight. Maybe she gets plastic surgery. Dressing better. How does a man become more confident? Same thing. If he's overweight, loses weight, puts on muscle, dresses better, gets more financial success, and now has these material, maybe he's got a new house or a car or something. Confidence is also a business. It's not... I wouldn't say it's an unquantifiable thing. It could be quantified by physically either improving your life or getting physical results. So a lot of guys, they say, well, my confidence is improving. Is it really? I really believe and if I had to pick one thing, the number one thing that makes people more confident, it's when, specifically overweight, when overweight people finally get their fitness in order, they become more confident. Because even... money, yes, people can get more confident with money, but even still, there are people, a lot of tech nerd type people, they have all the money in the world, but they're still not very confident. That's why I would argue that even looks, I've done the research to back it up. Looks, it really is, it's so important. Not everyone's going to look like a model or anything, but if you're doing everything within your power to look better and you're getting some results, that goes a very long way.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, I like that perspective more. So I'm going to retract what I said. I'm going to stop saying that. I like that. So I don't, you're right. I agree with you on that. I wouldn't necessarily say that it does make them more confident. I think it just teaches them how to embrace fear instead, maybe something like that. And I'm afraid constantly, so I react and do weird shit.
Because one of the scariest moments in my life It's back. One of the biggest fears I overcame. I was like 10, maybe 11 years old. I was big into like, in addition to playing sports, I was big into like skateboarding and stuff then. And I can. Are you big into skateboarding? Or ever? Okay, all right, yeah. So, if any guys out there know the skateboard terminology, dropping in, when you go, you're on the top of the ramp and you go in. I could always do it off of.
I used to play Tony Hawk.
Okay, yeah. So you know, okay, yeah. Saying that's I played those games too. I could drop in easily off of the 3-foot half pipe, the 6-foot one, but I was scared shitless of doing it off the 12-foot one. Okay, and then one day. It's probably the most scared because what would I do? I'd get to the top and I'd see my older friends do it and I'd chicken out and I wouldn't do it. And then one day, it was probably the most scared I've ever been because I was scared because then people were looking at me and I didn't want to look like a pussy. And I just said, fuck it, and then just did it. And I overcame, that was an instance of me overcoming my fear. But that's an instance, was I confident? No, I was scared shitless. Yeah. When the pressure's on you and you have these, sometimes unrealistic expectations of yourself. So when guys are doing things, taking their shirts off and stuff like that, I don't think that's so much confidence. It really is just in the moment capitalizing on that fear. Because fear is a very powerful motivator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree with you. Yeah. And so to go back to the thing of attraction, because again, I think this is just such an important point for you guys to even understand, especially since we have you here, and I think you understand attraction pretty well. Mm-hmm. What I like to say is that if you get to the point where you're like a male 7 and up, I think that's a baseline for where you can begin to start getting consistent results with women. Once you're actually like a male 7 and up, unless here in this. Remember, I told you earlier. I said there was something I wanted to talk to you about, but I said let's save it for the video. Okay, yeah. This is what it was. So I think that there's 3 levels to having success with women. Yeah. I think there's your attractiveness, which is the most important. How you look physically and how you dress and how tall you are. Some of it's genetic, some of it's not. And then secondly, I think is presentation. So how you actually convey yourself. So for example, if you have a guy who's an attractive model, but is actually a fucking jerk constantly and is just socially unaware and is burping and belching, maybe he'll get laid here and there, but he's not going to have the advantage that a cool guy who looks just like him would. And then the least important one, but still is there, is your technical game, because I think that teaches you how to solve problems. So even the model guy is going to get girls saying, oh, I don't know if I can go home with you tonight, and trying to get him to take them on tons of dates, maybe, right? But if he has a good game, he'll know how to get around that. Yeah. And what I tell guys is that if they have their attractiveness at least at a 7, the other 2, if they make that shit really good, they can start getting results. How do you see this balance of attractiveness versus game? Where do you want to be? Where's the sweet spot?
Yeah, I would say...
for an average guy who's not a male model.
Yeah. I would say... I would even make it more simple than that. It's a matter of, your physical attractiveness and your ability or willingness to go for it. Because a lot of guys, the guys that get laid a lot, what's the one thing they have going for them? They're not afraid to go for it. Because I actually think of it...
and you're saying that's better than even just, like, solve game problems. It's just...
I think that's a part... Being able to go for it, and then that, like, the technical stuff, like logistics, and, there's so many micro situations. Yeah. Like... I was actually, I was out a couple weeks ago, and it's just like, I just talked to this 10 and got her number, and everything's framed up. But now she's staring at me, and this other chick is staring at me right now, and I'm kind of like in no man's land, because this one's like giving me like the pound me look, but this one is like grilling me to see, like, she's like, look at, like, what do I do? Okay, like, let me, there's a couple things I can do. Let me, hopefully, maybe I can like quick number close that one, and then like micromanage each situation. There's total.
Instantly in my mind, I was like, introduce them to each other and start.
Yeah. There's like a million different little micro situations like that. That's something that just comes with time and experience. You learn how to manage those. But that fundamental, I actually think of it, not even just disregarding the attraction stuff for a minute here. I think there's like 3 phases that guys go through. The first one is overcoming that just general fear of women, like being able to look women in the eye, being able to talk to them. Okay. The second phase is I would actually put the physicality second. Being able to get close to chicks, being able to make out with chicks, and just being able to just touching chicks. To you see this when guys, they take pictures. They have like that hover hand thing. Right. So, those are guys that
I have a photo from a trip in Mexico I had where I did just that.
Yeah.
Fuck, you flash me back to
it. So, just being able to be physical with chicks 100% of the time. And the third phase, and this is like when guys think of beginner, intermediate, advanced, it's this phase. It's that ability to go for it. Not just physically, but verbally too. A lot of guys, they can't verbalize wanting to have sex with a chick. So they can't, everything's great. They're talking to the chick and they can't pull the trigger like, okay, how do I get this chick back to my place? Well, it's very simple. You ask her, hey, listen, all right, I like you, you like me, I think you're sexy as fuck. Listen, I think we should get the fuck out of here and go back to my place. Well, and then, then the technical stuff comes in. Well, what about my friend? Listen, okay, we'll be back in a little bit. It'll be our little secret. Your friends won't know a thing. I'll get you back. It'll be our little secret. They won't find out. Or just listen. Yeah. Going through the logistics. Listen, I live 10 minutes away. We're not far at all. But being able to do that verbally, look a chick in the eye, and basically say, yeah, I want to fuck you. You don't have to. You could say it that way, but being able to communicate that subtly, that's a fear that a lot of guys have to overcome. And I think that's the one when you can consistently do that. In multiple environments. Do it right now on the street at whatever time it is right now. Mm-hmm. Do it at night. Yeah. Go for it online. When you can consistently do that and you're essentially bringing in all these sexual leads where the interactions are sexualized, that's where guys are going to get their results from. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And I want to talk about this. So when it comes to like going for shit and it comes to making shit happen, I personally think that there's, in a way, a direct correlation between your self-image, how you see yourself, and your ability to actually go for shit. Absolutely. Right? So you, for example, you had like super strong like father figures and people in your life. Mm-hmm. So naturally, I assume you were able to learn how to go for shit. Yeah. Right? And me, in my case, I had a strong father presence. Yeah. And so I had an easier time learning it than others. Even though I was taught to stay away from women, I still learned how to go for shit in my life. Yeah. So when it came to women, I just had to translate that. Oh, okay, girls, right? So for a guy who, let's say, doesn't have that, or let's say a guy that is just stuck, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's about it's about entitlement. It's about giving yourself permission to go for it. A lot of guys, they don't deep down. Because wherever they're at, they don't feel worthy of going for that job promotion, going out and getting leads, getting sales leads, going out and getting chicks. They don't feel entitled to that because deep down they don't think they deserve it. So what you have to do, again, it goes back to what I said about confidence before. Work on improving those things in life because you're going to have a better self-image. When you have a better self-image, you have more self-esteem. You think more highly of yourself. You start to go for things more. Hey, you know what? I've been getting my ass kicked at the gym. I've been working out hard. I'm starting to lose the belly fat. I'm putting on some muscle. You know what? That hot chick that I see working the counter at Starbucks every day, I've beat around the bush for too long. I've been too much of a pussy. You know what? Fuck it. I think today's the day I'm going to just fucking go for it and see what happens. You start to think like that. It starts to come out in little by little, and then there's a snowball effect, because then what happens? You start going for it, you start getting the things that you want, and it just keeps snowballing and snowballing and snowballing, and then, that's what leads to big changes over life.
And that was one of so in my journey with women, that was one of the biggest kind of insights that I had. Like, I remember the first day that I went and had an instant date. I remember it. I literally, my mentor told me, one of the guys that I was day gaming with, he told me, he was like, the next time you come out, he's like, I'm not going to go out with you anymore if you keep being a bitch. And I was like, okay. And he was like, next girl you meet that likes you, take her hand and just go to Starbucks with her. Just take her hand and go to Starbucks. So I learned how to instant date because she went with it. And the next ones, of course, didn't. But then I figured out how to be fucking smart. Right? So I'm curious, did you have any, I know that you've pretty much always had success with girls, but I know that you've been going out how long now? Like 8-9 years, something like that?
I mean,
you've been going out for a while, dude.
Like I said, I was always going to like athlete parties and stuff when sports always helped me out because you're part of the in crowd. You played 3 sports in middle school, high school, and stuff. You're already part of like the in crowd, the cool crowd or whatever. So and then eventually you get to high school, you go to high school parties and stuff. So
you've been out there for a fucking while.
Yeah.
And what I was gonna ask you is, what part of your journey with just women, or however you want to answer this, even just like your personal growth, would you say was a big milestone you had where you learned something?
So
go ahead.
I was gonna say it wouldn't necessarily be a milestone, but Believe it or not, it was what is this? It was like June, 12 years ago. So what happened? I was always built and everything, but I remember my dad signed me up for my first gym membership, and I saw again immediate results. But that summer 2006, that was really. Because again, I'm a 16-year-old kid then. For the most part, the chicks I've been getting were like that age. I worked at a summer camp, and it was a great summer because I'm making gains in the gym. I got all these cool friends working at the summer camp, and I was just getting chicks left and right because I'm just very confident. Almost to the point. It's funny when you first start at the gym and you make the most gains. That's when you're most cocky. Meanwhile, I'm going from like 150 pounds to like 180 pounds. Like it's nothing compared to what I am now. But that was a big eye-opener. It was a great experience for me because, I wasn't getting chicks that were, 15, 16, 17. Like, that summer, I knocked a couple, like, 18, 19, like, 20-year-olds. And that's a big deal. When you're, like, fucking 16 and you're doing that, like, as far as, like, inflating, like, your confidence, that does a lot for you. So I always say that summer 2006 for me, first time, that's when I first started off the gym. I'm getting these gains. Cool friends, getting chicks, even older than me. That really that summer did a lot for my confidence.
Yeah. I think that also ties into what you were saying earlier about the best way to build confidence is to just get results.
Oh yeah.
I personally would agree with this. There's no way.
I was such a tool then because even I was wearing tank tops. In the summer, But even when it was getting colder in October, November, I showed up and I remember I wore the same stupid black G-Unit tank top.
Yeah.
Even if it's cold out, no sweatshirt, nothing, just a tank top.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I'm anemic, so I can't do that. I fucking die if I do that shit.
Yeah.
No, but I agree. I think that results supersede everything, right? So, like, I'll have some guys that, and again, I'm sure the guys you work with as well. Like, I know you've done fitness stuff as well, and dating coaching and pickup coaching, right? So a lot of times, like, you'll get students that'll say, okay, so I've had program and I've gotten like laid maybe once or twice. Some guys of course kill it, but if we're being honest, not everyone's gonna fucking destroy every time. But so I think that the best advice I'd have to say is you have to like get momentum. You have to constantly have girls coming through your phone. You have to have girls you're texting. You have to actually see proof of results in front of you before you can start to feel better about yourself necessarily.
Absolutely, and that's one of the things that I've stressed, and I'm pretty sure you stress it too. A lot of guys don't stress this when it comes to specifically focus on the getting good with chicks shit. It's not an act or like a mask that you're putting on. We're teaching identity change. Like, you have to make getting chicks your identity. So a lot of guys, what they'll do, and I've met a lot of guys that are ingrained in this kind of game plan. They'll work their regular job, or they'll go to school or whatever. Okay, that's their identity. They're not talking to chicks then or doing anything then. And then they make the switch. Okay, right after work, I'm gonna go do 2 hours a day game at the mall, or it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'm gonna go do. All right, now I'm gonna go out with my pickup friends and do this shit. No, it needs to be an identity. Like, there isn't one particular place you can only get chicks from. Like. Your options aren't limited to just the bar or the nightclub or a lounge or something. It's everywhere. Or the mall or the coffee shop or nothing. Like, I've gotten hot chicks from the weirdest fucking. I've gotten hot chicks like phone numbers from fucking gas stations, bait shops, fucking post office. Believe it or not. When it's a part of your identity, like, you need to go in, and it doesn't have to be a big thing. All you're doing is making small talk, right? Even yesterday, like, I didn't. I'm not in that mode right now, but you have to be a social person. Like yesterday, I drink this, water. I have Mio in it. I happen to be working out next to a chick. I just talk about, hey, is that Mio right there? Yeah, how'd you know? And then, show her my water and, chit chat back and forth. Oh yeah, cool. Little things like that, all right? And, you build momentum off. You have enough of those throughout your day and night. All you have to do, you just capitalize it. Again, my particular style of doing it. Oh, yeah. Hey, listen, you seem really cool. And hey, listen, all right, I don't mean to be a creep or anything, but I'm sure you get this a lot, but I think you're really sexy and I'd like to take you out. Yeah. What do you think? And she's either going to say yes or you're going to say no. And if you've done everything within your power, you improve everything within your power to present yourself as an attractive man. Fashion, fitness, your overall verbals and whatnot. Yeah. You improve your odds of getting yeses.
The odds go up. Yeah. That's absolutely for sure.
Yeah.
And I wanna actually talk about that. You mentioned identity, right? So, you said that when you're going out and when you're meeting women, it should be a part of your identity, and it should.
Yeah.
And I don't think you meant necessarily like I'm the guy who hunts for girls as part of your identity, but I am that guy that women are attracted to as part of your identity. Mm-hmm. Were you gonna add to that?
Yeah, and actually, because the one story I forget if this is you on Facebook. I'm sorry, but this story will always stick with me. Like the one guy, he's talking about how, he does his ritualized day game, he does his night game, and he told a story where, I was in a doctor's office and there's no one there. It was just me and this chick, and I froze up. Or some guys, they're in an elevator, and I just froze up. I didn't say anything, and did I fuck up? Yeah, you fucked up because the universe just threw an opportunity your way. All you had to do was open your mouth, just get the ball rolling, and start talking. But nothing. And meanwhile, like as far as logistics, like everything was handled. You don't have to deal with annoying friends, loud nightclub music, just like other dudes trying to pull the robbery, like right there on a tee. All you had to do was swing away, and you didn't. That's what I'm talking about when I say identity. Just making it a part of your everyday routine to strike up conversations, start small talk with chicks. That's all you have to do. Like it isn't a big thing. It's a little tweak.
So there's two things that I kind of want to go into from here, and I don't want to forget either of them. So I'm gonna go in this order. So in the fuckboy frame, and if you guys have watched the course in order, which you should have fucking done, you would have seen in module number 2 where I talk about inner identity, and I talk about how you can. I tell stories for myself of how I grew from seeing myself as the nerd. I actually saw myself that way. I didn't realize it until later, and how I became the guy who saw himself as the attractive guy. Before I get into like the how and the why and stuff, me and you have talked personally. I know we had a Skype chat or Facebook chat, me and you, a while ago, and you were telling me about your time in Vegas. We started talking about it a little bit, and you were saying how you were like such a fucking fuckboy in Vegas, and how the results you had with girls were through the roof. And I know you scratched into a bit of the technical, like go to pool parties, do this, but talk about you. You were like doing crazy shit in Vegas as a fuckboy, and these guys are watching the fuckboy frame, which is not teaching them how to be fuckboys, but have some of those attractive traits. What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, that's just ingrained in who that's who I am naturally. Even I was just in Colombia. I reverted back to that kind of don't give a fuck, just do whatever I want frame real quick. That's why I don't party as much, because I think it's just like when I party and going like it's like. I hate to use the term rock star type shit, but like it does get crazy.
It's actually funny because I've never pictured you as that kind of guy. Even like when we met the first time, I always thought of you as just a business, simple cut, meat and potatoes down south. I believe in the Lord. I know it's not.
I definitely I try to present. I'm not saying I'm like a total degenerate behind the scenes, but I try to present myself, best foot forward. But as far as I mean, it is. It's an identity. Here's the thing. I believe any guy in Vegas, they'd probably improve their odds of doing that because it's the same. Vegas, it's fucking nuts there. Like it's a 24/7 city. You can run into trouble anytime, any place. In Vegas. But in general, that's just if you're part of that scene, the Vegas scene. That's the culture there. Like even like. Is focused on guys guys don't grow up out of that phase. Like you got like 45, 50-year-old fuckboys like rolling around Vegas.
And that's not all healthy. I don't think that's healthy.
No.
Necessarily. I don't.
No, I don't. When you're 45, 50 years old, you really shouldn't be, wearing like backwards hats and tank tops and shit like that. But when you're in your 20s, maybe even a little bit into your 30s, it's kind of like the natural thing to do. But Vegas, it kind of just, I believe it would do that for any guy. For me personally, it's like fuckboy, like Jersey Shore Guido gym culture. Go to, you network with people, the place to go, LVAC, you network with people there, you see the same people, you see all the same people at the pool parties. It gets magnified there.
So like the best way to put this is then I want to move to the other thing I want to talk about. What did a day in Vegas look like for you? We were talking about that a little bit. You don't have to.
Day in Vegas. Wake up around 11 or 12. Right around 11. Go do morning cardio. Then go do morning cardio, and then usually go to a pool party. get a bunch of numbers, maybe pull a chick from there, get something to eat somewhere between, and then, either fuck all afternoon or quick close and then go back, maybe get something to eat, and then pass out for a little bit, and then work out, and then go to a nightclub, and just doing that Vegas.
Not very sustainable, but
no, it's not sustainable. That's why I say, like, guys that are serious about moving there, you can have the time of your life. It is a once in a lifetime experience. It's an experience I actually recommend to a lot of guys because, going through that, when you put yourself through that much chaos and you're partying that much and railing that many chicks out, you grow up a lot in that time period. You get a couple years worth of growing up within a short, like a 1 or 2 year time frame. You really do. You learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about your interests in chicks. You learn a lot about chicks in general. You learn a lot about just where you're going. You start to put things in perspective. Like, okay, I definitely don't want to fuck around like this for a while. It's time to get serious about life, and really, it's time to start growing up. And that's what Vegas does. It tells you, okay, it's time to start growing up. Yeah.
And actually, I'm really happy that you went into that thing that just now about the kind of it's risky, or it's something that teaches you how to grow up and stuff. Because one of the biggest principles, and I actually realized this probably in the last 6 months, and I started teaching in the last 6 months, and I think that you have much more insight into this than I do, and maybe you'd even disagree or agree or have a different perspective. Okay. I think, and I've said this before, that a man cannot truly know who he is. He won't ever know himself unless he takes massive risks in his life, right? And that, I genuinely believe that. I think that if you don't take risks, you won't know who you are. You'll never find yourself. And Absolutely. I think that there's also 2 levels of risks. And I'm going to talk for a little bit, and then I'm going to let you go. Yeah. I think that the first is micro risks. And micro risks are little things you do every day just to make yourself feel a little better and get that much closer to being a winner, right? So little things, for example, like going to the gym, and like me, for example, I told you the risk I'm going to take during the summer is going to be I will eat healthier and I will start working out. I hate that.
And that's not real. I can tell you right, genetics wise, you'll grow like a weed.
But when I say a risk, I don't mean a risk because it couldn't work. When I say a risk, I mean it's something that pushes me a little out of my comfort zone. Because I hate going to the gym. I really don't like working out. I love playing sports, but I don't like doing that. Or another risk could be like, let's say for a person who's super overweight, saying I'm going to cut out certain foods. It's a little micro risk. It makes them feel a little uncomfortable, and it may not be met with like, I feel great, but in the end, it actually will be better. Yeah. Then I think there's macro risks. And the macro risks is like me getting kicked out of my parents' house or choosing to leave my parents' house and start working on pickup. Or me saying, hey, I'm going to go live in Sweden for a year and I'm going to quit my job. And I think those are things that help you evolve as a person and fucking change. Yeah. So I'm curious your opinion on this. Taking risks, what does that do for the psyche of a man? And, I mean, girls most likely are not going to watch this. If you're a woman watching this, maybe. But, generally men. What can that do for your psyche? And how should you implement risk-taking into your life? Well, not killing yourself, but also really growing as a person and just, Yeah.
No, I agree 100% with everything you just said. You have to take risks, calculated risks, not necessarily being reckless. But I think being reckless and making impulsive decisions, I think that's a part of life too. I think it's natural. I think you should do that once in a while too. But yeah, risks. And I think the biggest risk, and this is specifically something our generation needs to understand, is leaving the nest, getting out of the house, and going off into the world, the cold, hard wilderness, on your own. That's something that is really when you find out who you are. Because here's the thing, I have friends, I know a lot of people, like they're even older than me. They've never left the nest. They still live with their parents, and they're still in their little safe comfort zone. And they think they know a lot about life, but you really don't. You really start to know a lot about life when you have full autonomy. Mom and dad aren't paying the bills. Mom and dad they're not supporting you. They don't have the roof over your head. It's when life becomes about, it's completely on you in every aspect. That is the risk that every man needs to take in order to learn about themselves. And that entails, myself personally, I've moved at the drop of a hat and lived in multiple cities in the U.S. It does change your psyche. You become more sure of yourself. Because I think guys, and this gets into somewhat like the masculinity, some of the things I've talked about in Tyrants and Tellers. You know, here's the thing, and I'm not one of those guys that says, you know, I have all the answers, I'm the ultimate man, I have all the answers. I don't. I really think when the pinnacle of being a man and really like knowing your shit, it's when it's not about you, when you have your own family and kids and stuff. I think that, and you're head of the household, like that's really when you know what it takes, what it's like to be a man. I'm not there yet. I definitely have some good insights that guys look up to, but I think a good place to start is having that risk, going out onto your own, and being, when you really know when you're on the right path. Not just guys, girls in general. Our generation, they don't, and I wrote an article on this, they don't bet on themselves. So when it comes to making decisions, what's the first reaction? The first reaction is to ask everybody and their mother, well, what do you think? What do you think? Girls especially, girls don't make decisions. They ask their group of friends, and whatever the majority of them agree on, that's the decision they go with. Should I break up with Brad? Well, most of my friends say, yeah, all right, so I guess I'm going to do that. That's how a lot of chicks make decisions. That's how a lot of guys make decisions too. When you're a guy and you can, comes time for a decision or you need to act on something, when it's not you asking all your friends and your first initial reaction is to, okay, I think this is the right thing to do. Okay, and I'm going to do it. That's really when guys have the ability to do that, they are way far ahead of the curve.
Yeah. When you say that risk-taking leads to guys being able to make those better decisions?
Yes.
Because, for example, like I'll give an example of myself.
Yeah.
So I think probably the biggest risk that I've taken I took two big risks in my life. One was deciding, yes, I'm going to leave my parents' house. Like, they gave me an option. They were like, stop going to the city and even hanging out with people because they knew I was doing pickup. And they were like, either stop doing that or leave. And I was like, okay, I'm going to leave. And they weren't supporting me. They gave me like 1 month of rent, and I was on my own. Yeah. And I had two jobs, retail jobs. And the second big risk was in 2015, quitting those jobs and doing this full time. And at the time, I was barely making rent, but I was grinding. So those to me weren't decisions where I like had to ask everybody. But I still wasn't very confident though. Like if you would ask me to make a decision like as a man, I still would probably ask all my friends. But those were just two in the moment risks that I was like,
but but here's the thing: those things are the past, and you're doing great now, so you feel much more
because those things built to this.
Those things built to this, and here's the thing: I have a feeling even if those things, even when guys do fail. That still helps too because you already have the experience of making the decision. Hey, it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to turn out, but I know I can make the decision. I can make it again. Yeah, but that is when you make risks. That's what life is. It's all about momentum. When you have the ability to, when you make these decisions, you take these risks. You already have a track record of doing that. That's why, how do you get more confident with chicks? Well, you have a history or a track record of banging hot chicks. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And to you guys who are watching this, I mean, all of you guys, I would suggest that if you're in a comfort zone right now, like if you're in, and again, I don't want to say it in the mainstream pickup sense where they say comfort zone, and they literally mean leave your job and quit everything and travel the world doing pickup. And I'm not saying do pickup. This is not even a pickup product. It's an inner game product technically, right? But if you are in a comfort zone right now, like Sonny has said, and like I've said, go out and find a way that you can actually take a risk, right? Maybe it is saying, okay, I'm going to go on leave from my job for 6 months. Let's say you have a good job and you have savings. Maybe you could stop. Maybe you could travel to another fucking country and link up with some cool fucking dudes and do shit, right? So I kind of want to add on to the whole part of risk taking, and I want to bring it again back to women. I like how we're kind of alternating between self-development, girls, self-development, girls. When it comes to getting quality women and adding them to your life, I think that we pretty much already agree that to get general success, you're going to have to be attractive. So let's say for the guy that's attractive already, not a fucking male model, but again, he's able to get laid with 3-4 cute girls a month, and he wants to start getting into the higher tier of girls. And girls that are like those 9s and 10s, the girls that are on Instagram constantly, minimum 10K followers, things like that. I think here's where you're starting to, I know you're doing a lot of research on this for your new book coming out, right? Where can this guy start to tap into that quality of woman? And again, I have my own answer, but I'd rather just throw it off to you.
I mean, I think a lot of it relies on, luck and lifestyle. Just running into these. Here's the thing. And I'll talk about this now. I have a video on this, but a lot of guys, I don't think DMing is the way to go on Instagram.
I am wrong. Okay, I have started. Damn, fuck.
Yeah.
That was like my mission.
I mean, no. Don't get me wrong. Like you can absolutely get chicks that way. I don't think it's the best way to get chicks is always going to be face to face in person, because that's when you can make your sale. You can sell yourself. You can show all your attractive attributes, not just the way you look, but the way you talk, the way your vocal tone, voice inflection, vocal tone. Now, there's all these things that you can bring into the dynamic that you just can't on social media or Tinder or dating or online dating profiles. So running into these chicks in real life, and just having a lifestyle where you run into those types of chicks. That's why. Where do you think these Instagram models, well, they need to upkeep their appearances, so a great place to run into them is the gym. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I mean, just where do hot chicks go? They go to where the money is. So wherever, high-end shopping areas, the all-eated Whole Foods, nice restaurants, shit like that. If you frequent these types of places, you improve your odds of running into these types of chicks.
So I'm going to specialize this question a little quickly. And I think maybe to give better context so we can dive better into this. Yeah. When I say how can you add these girls to your life or run into them, I don't necessarily mean where to find them, because I think that's relatively simple.
Okay.
What I mean more so is you've mentioned the concept of game being sales multiple times.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, I don't know if that's something I fully agree with. But part of having this discussion is I love other perspectives.
Yeah.
So when it comes to hot girls and game being like sales, how does that fucking work? So as a guy who wants to meet hot girls, as a guy who wants to get higher quality women and feel entitled to 9s and 10s, and let's be real, like real 9s and 10s, the majority of men are not gonna fucking get unless they're in Vegas and absolutely killing it. It's very hard. But I'm talking about girls that are actually hot, that they'd be like, fuck, I'm really proud of having this girl.
Yeah.
What does sales mean? Game is sales.
You have a product. Your physical product is how you look. Your overall, your facial aesthetics, how you're built, your fashion, your body language, how you talk. Your vocal tone, your voice inflection, all those things that a chick could get a sense. Your eye contact, all those things that chicks can get a sense of within the first 30 seconds of the interaction, and then going for it. So, and I think there's sometimes guys are disillusioned. They think, well, I have to game a 6 differently than a 10. No, you don't. It is. It's the same shit.
I've heard so many perspectives on that.
Yeah, it is. It's the same thing. Or at least it's the same thing for me. My style, dude, thinks it's very direct. Well, it doesn't start off direct. Well, if it's a 9 or 10, it starts off direct, because you gotta, you show you have balls. Hey, listen, especially if it's like a regular cold approach, you're sexy as fuck and I'm wanting to meet you. What's your name? And you go from there. And if she's digging it, she'll fucking, the conversation opens up. Or she might just screen you out right away and just throw up like, oh, I'm married. And, there's ways around that too, but odds are it's a low probability move. But there isn't, it's a matter of going for it. Imagine a matter of going, being attractive, going for it, meaning opening up the conversation, even if it's something as simple as regular small talk, and then going for it you're asking for the sale at the end. Hey, listen, all right, I think you're really attractive. You seem cool as fuck. I'd love to take you out. Or what are you doing right now? You want to go grab a drink real quick? That's going for it right there, because right there, you already project. These chicks aren't dumb. They already know. Well, why does this dude want to take me out? Why does this dude want to go grab a drink with me right now? It's because he wants to fuck me. Yeah. Right? They know you're saying you want to fuck her, and you're subtly throwing it out there because she knows what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
So that's the sales part. You're asking, at the end of the interaction, you're asking for the close, whether it be something as simple as, hey, let's hang out. And what do you do? Your prospect, especially in the initial interaction, you should be screening for logistics and prospect as part of your prospecting process. Right away. So you should be asked, actually a question I like, so what's your deal? Are you single or what? Oh yeah, I'm single. Yeah. Okay, all right, so that's good news for me. Joke about it there. And then you ask, one of the biggest questions guys need to ask, what's your schedule like, or when are you free this week? All right. I like that question a lot, because you're already projecting that, okay, I'm looking for, I want to take you out at some point. I want to take you out when you're free. And then the chick will say, either when she's free or that she'll get a sense like, oh, I can't, I have a boyfriend or something. And then, it's fine. But yeah, that's what you're doing. You're asking when she's free. And here's the thing: no matter how busy you are, if a chick is smoking fucking hot, no matter how busy you are on Wednesday, if she says if she's free on Wednesday, she'd love to hang out with you. Then you're gonna move all your shit that you had to do on Wednesday to either Tuesday or Thursday, and you're gonna wipe the schedule clean for them. That's just guys. That's just how we operate.
So what I get the sense is that you're not under the impression that a girl who is a 8 or 9 is necessarily harder to game objectively than a 6 or 5. Which is, I agree with that, by the way. I don't disagree. But that's kind of your general impression. If you're an attractive guy.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is, I tend not to think. I think guys need to think like this. They need to just go in there and go for it because, and this is part of the building yourself up process. When you are confident in yourself, or at least on the path, and you're building yourself up in multiple areas, you don't have these little voices telling you, reminding you of all your flaws. You're just thinking, win, go in and win. That's all you're thinking. You're not thinking about all this shit. Well, maybe what if she doesn't like me? But those voices, they kind of disappear. You just think, no, boom, I want to fuck the shit out of this chick. Okay, time to go in.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that probably one of the huge benefits of having you on this talk right now is I've heard from a lot of people in the community. I never understood it because I never sat down and chatted game with you. We've talked about your story and stuff, but we never talked a game like this. You have a great inner game perspective, and I know that the book that you're coming out with, Instagot, is based a lot on social media and the way that people connect to each other.
It's completely
nowadays.
Changed the world.
Yeah, correct. So what I'm curious about is this perspective you have about women and about game and about going for shit.
Yeah.
How does that translate to Instagots? Because I want to kind of look at some of the things that you're working on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is. It's going to be a lot bigger, a lot more extensive than my first book of Tyrants and Tellers. It's going to be a book. It's not going to be just geared towards men. I'm going to provide a complete experience, a complete expose on this developing realm of the human condition. So women are going to benefit from this as well, but especially guys will really like it because I'm going to provide insight into the female psyche unlike anything out there. Social media, it's this big thing. It's literally everywhere, but no one is going over these sort of unstated laws or rules or law code that we all abide by. It's an invisible government. Every move we make, both guys and girls, on social media, there is an underlying meaning. It's especially the case with girls. So it actually brings me back to my point. Best way to get laid off of Instagram, especially, it's not sliding into DMs because every guy's doing it. So are you a big Simpsons fan? No. Okay. There's an episode on The Simpsons when Mr. Burns, he's like deathly ill. He has like every disease, and the doctor's going over this with him, and he's explaining it, and he brings up this like model with all these little like toy things that are supposed to be germs, and he's pushing them through the door, and he's saying like, yeah, well, you have so many germs trying to get in and fucking kill you that none of them are getting in. So it's kind of like they're all stuck at the thing. It's the same thing with the DMs. So many guys, they send the DMs. Well, all these chicks, they're getting who knows how many direct messages from dudes. So it's all these dudes kind of getting in. As a result, no one's getting in. So the best way, it's just a brief look. Now, I'm not talking about like your like legit Instagram models with like 10 million followers.
The blue check mark.
Yeah, I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about your like regular like hot chick, like that you actually see in real life, who might have a couple thousand followers.
Your average college girl that's the hottest one in the campus.
Yes, the way you get those chicks, it is not through sliding through DMs, okay? It is through, number one, never following them. It is through intel gathering and conveniently showing up at the right spot. So, for instance, if you see a chick that you've had your eye on happens to work out at, I don't know, fucking the Gold's Gym in your city around 3 o'clock, that's when he's posting selfies. Maybe that's a good time to conveniently go to the gym then and conveniently run into her and conveniently have small talk with her. I know this because I've gotten chicks off of Instagram, never once sending a DM, but through smart intel gathering, finding out what her interests are and whatnot. Got time for a brief story?
We're good. Let's go.
Okay. So a couple of years back, there was a chick who this is quite. This is a lot for back then. This is like 2014. She had like 45,000 like Instagram followers, and she worked at a bar. And I know because all my friends at the gym, they talk about how hot this chick was, and they all try to DM her, as did every other dude. And what do you know? None of them got her. So one day I decided, like, fuck it, I'm gonna try something different. So I see on her, and I was ghost following her on Instagram just to study who she was. I noticed a couple things. She's into metal music. Obviously, she's into fitness. Okay, here's what I'm gonna. And I see, hey, I'm at such and such bar until 9:00. Come by and visit me. Okay, well, I'm probably not. I'm thinking. I'm just speaking out, like, because I believe it or not, people don't think. I can get technical and think like a strategist. No. I'm very strategical when it comes to this stuff. Let's see, 5 to 9. That's probably not a good time because you got your rush hour crowd coming in. There's probably going to be a bunch of guys after work. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to come in like dead time, 3:30, 4 o'clock, and I timed it perfectly. I went to the gym, made sure I worked chest and buys and the glory body parts. Made sure I walked in. I got a to-go burger. Made sure I walked in, all sweaty and pumped up. And I remember she's into heavy metal stuff. So I switched my ringtone to a Rob Zombie song because I saw, it seems like she's into that. And I had my friend. I texted my friend. I was like, "Hey, bro, call me right now." Right in front of her, and at this point, I'm already in. Hey, how's it going? Regular small talk. Nothing, seemed a little shy and timid at first. Regular small talk. Had my friend call, Rob Zombie. Dick, fucking blasting on my phone. Dick through the ditches and burn. That song, and you see her like light like a shark in water, like light up. Yeah, what's going on? Yeah, I'll be there later. All right, just a bullshit conversation. You like Rob Zombie? Yeah, I love all that shit. I mean, I'm big into working out at the gym, so I listen to all that stuff. Why, you like that? Oh my god, I love that. And she's like going all on and on and on. Talk about working out, where we're from. It opened up the door, and it's like a little. It's like you have the manual. That's what social media is. I use social media to get that. Boom, hang out with her after work and close the deal that night. That's how you intel gather. That's what it is. And people would, they might say, well, that's like stalking or, well, no. Here's the thing. Everybody intel gathers. All right, guys do it. Girls are relentless. You meet a chick, first thing she does, she Googles you. She looks you up on Facebook. That's just that is the part of the police state that social media has created. So if you're doing the same thing that everybody is already doing, I'm just being the one brave enough to say, yeah, do it. But that is, there's many ways to get laid with social media. That to me makes the most sense because people, especially chicks, they put their entire life on social media. Yeah. You can literally find out who they are as a person, what their interests are, where they go. They tag, places they frequent and stuff like that. The answers are there. The answers are there as far as from a behavior standpoint. Combine that with what we've talked about being as attractive as possible and going for it, it's very, very easy to get chicks that way because all the answers are right there. Yeah. And that's why I also say, I tell guys in general, you kind of want to avoid giving a chick when she asks like for your Instagram or Snapchat or Facebook and stuff. And I lean more towards avoiding giving that stuff because it's the same thing. You don't want to give the game plan away. You don't know what's a potential deal breaker on social media because guys and girls, it's in our nature to look at someone's social media and see something and be like, oh, it's a deal breaker.
The one counter argument just to that really quick, and I you probably would agree with this. Yeah. I think that having a great Instagram profile as a guy though could be a very sign of high value. For example, I know me, I've gotten a lot of girls just because I've showed them my Instagram and they've been like, oh, you model. Well, model, like I don't actually model like that, but I have model quality photos, right? Yeah. So I think that could also be an advantage, depending on what you do, though, but the average guy would probably agree.
It absolutely, if you have like model quality pics, it absolutely can help you out. The only thing I'd say, it's just that you don't know what's going to be a deal breaker. Think back to the 2016 presidential election we're leading up to. How many guys out there lost chicks where everything was great well, let me look at this guy's Instagram. He's wearing a Trump hat. Fuck him. How many guys lost chicks like that? How many guys? There's probably guys out there lost chicks. I know one guy. He lost a chick. Everything's great. She's a vegan. She saw a picture of him eating like a big fucking burger. So you don't know what's going to be a deal breaker. Who knows? Maybe you're friends with, a dude that like fucked her over or something. You don't know.
Yeah.
And I think here's the thing, what social media did, it took the mystery out of it. It took the mystery out of everything, and you need to have a little bit of mystery in romance. Because there's a lot of fun to that, where you're hanging out with a chick for the first time, you're sitting across the table with her, and you're finding out her personality is unwinding. You're finding out who each other. It goes both ways. You're finding out who you are, who the other person is. The other person, you're seeing their personality unfold, who they really are. That's part of like the initial stages, the romance. Social media took that out because now a guy and a girl are sitting down. They both relentlessly intel gathered on each other. Guy has Googled the chick. He knows whether or not she has a police record. He's seen her Instagram. He's seen her Snapchat. He's seen her Facebook. He knows who she is. He's looked through every picture, and she's done the same.
Yeah.
What's new to find out? You already know everything about each other. You've already formulated your social media based opinions off of one another.
Yeah.
So. All those
things. Fucking powerful stuff.
Yeah, no, I mean that's again, I'm very passionate about this project. It is. It's something I'm looking forward to writing this summer.
Around when's the time can we expect it? I know you probably don't have an exact date, but
Yeah, sometime this fall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I think we can wrap it there, man. This was a fuck ton of value you shared, dude, and I enjoyed picking this. You guys are seeing the first actual game discussion that we've actually had, and we've known each other for a while. We've talked online and everything.
Yeah, and I normally don't. Guys, they look at me, they hear me talk, they think, I don't really get into it too much. No, there is. I love the psychology aspect of the game stuff. Mm-hmm. I love where it started. Yeah. I don't necessarily like where it's at now.
Same.
As far as a lot of the guys teaching it, some of the motivations behind it. I think, I'll actually end on this. I think guys, even going beyond fuckboy frame or anything we've talked about here, I think the number one thing guys need to they need to stay true to why they're in this in the first place, and they need to, their actions and the actions that they take to improve their lives, it needs to be congruent with what they really want. You need to be honest with what you really want. Why are you getting into this? Do you want to get one girlfriend? A lot of guys, they say they want to get one high quality girlfriend, but then their actions don't align with that. They're going to nightclubs and bars fucking 4 nights a week, and they're thinking they're going to get their high quality girl from that. Possible, yes. Again, odds aren't really in your favor. You want to do that, or you want to go the other way and you just want to just bang as many chicks as possible. Well, okay, then your actions need to align with that. And you need to be working those leads through all the online channels, Tinder, all the dating stuff, Bumble, things like that. And you need to be going out there and making small talk with as many chicks as possible. I think when this stuff is done the right way, it's not creepy, it's not gamey, it's just you living the best life possible, and just being social and talking and making small talk with chicks and going from there. And as long as you have good intentions and you continue to work on yourself and try and be the best version of yourself possible, you can't go wrong.
Fuck yeah, brother.
Yeah.
Well said. We'll leave it there. Thank you very much for your time, dude. I fucking enjoyed this shit.
Definitely, yeah, me too.
Talk to you guys later.
All right, later.